A very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. Your one stop for the day's top stories. Let's start with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Israel. Defence cooperation to be a key feature of the standalone visit with summit-level meetings with Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu. War of words escalates between India and China. Chinese Foreign Ministry reacts to Defence Minister Arun Jaitley's remarks, says China will take all necessary measures to safeguard its territorial sovereignty. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar urges the Congress to set an alternative agenda for the opposition, denies that he is in the race to be the opposition's prime ministerial face in the next elections. And 2 terrorists are killed in an encounter in Kashmir's Pulwama district days after being branded a global terrorist by the US. Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin admits carrying out terror attacks on Indian soil. Our top story this evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will leave for a 3-day visit to Israel on Tuesday, and this will be the first visit of any Indian Prime Minister to Israel since the establishment of diplomatic ties in 1992. A host of agreements are expected, especially in the areas of defence and science and technology.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Israel from July 4th to July 6th will be a closely watched one, when he will meet President Reuven Rivlin and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
First of all, Israel is welcoming Prime Minister Modi with a lot of love, enthusiasm and expectation for what will be a very important and landmark visit in the long history of Indo-Israel relations.
On Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold a summit-level meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu. Defence cooperation will be one of the major elements of this visit.
Israel and India have a very strong relationship in many fields. Defense is definitely one of the fields. We enjoy very much the different aspects of this relationship. But usually, as you know, we don't talk too much about defense.
Besides defense, the visit is also intended to upgrade the overall relations between the two nations in fields like agriculture, science and technology.
We have a wide range of cooperation, starting from agriculture, water, science and technology, education, innovation, now the startups, entrepreneurship, so joint research, joint innovation fund. So it is a very wide-ranging partnership. And so it is, we want to bring a definite shape and advance this cooperation into several areas.
Cooperation on fight against terrorism will also be a key element on the agenda. In the Mumbai attack, Pakistani terrorists had attacked the Israeli center and Israel feels no action has been taken on the perpetrators. This being a standalone visit, Prime Minister Modi will not visit Palestine. The Palestinian president has already visited India and held extensive talks with Prime Minister Modi on issues relating to mutual interests. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the ongoing verbal spat between China and India today escalated, with Beijing calling the Indian Army's action of stopping Chinese troops from constructing a road near Sikkim as a betrayal of the position taken by a successive Indian government. In fact, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Geng Shuang said that the Sino-Indian border in the Sikkim sector is well demarcated.
The war of words between India and China continued on Monday, with the Chinese Foreign Ministry Defence Minister Arun Jaitley's remarks that India of 2017 is different from what it was in 1962. In its response on Monday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Geng Shuang said China too is different and will take all necessary measures to safeguard its territorial sovereignty. Last week, the Defence Minister had hit out at China over its reference to the war, asking India to learn from history.
Now the Raksha Mantri has made it very clear, you cannot draw a comparison so easily and so simplistically between 1962 and 2017. 2017 is not 1962. The Indians are very well placed.
Reacting to the India-China standoff in the Dokala area near Sikkim, China said its border with India in Sikkim is well demarcated and the Indian Army's action over the last month is a betrayal of the position taken by successive Indian governments. He said India must respect the 1890 treaty and pull back troops immediately from Dokala. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson also accused India of using Bhutan as a cover-up for the illegal entry into Dokala. Bhutan has already lodged a protest with the Chinese government over the issue. In the longest impasse between the two armies since 1962, the Indian Army blocked a road construction by China in Dokala, which is a disputed territory between China and India. In a press release on Friday, India expressed deep concern at the action by Chinese troops. The External Affairs Ministry also conveyed that such construction will represent a significant change of status quo with serious security implications for India. The standoff peaked after China denied entry to Indian pilgrims through the Nathula Pass in Sikkim during the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
We'll keep you updated on developments there. Meanwhile, in national politics, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has once again said that he is not in the running for the Prime Minister's post in 2019. Nitish Kumar, who is a former BJP ally but now in the opposition, also said that the opposition should have alternative narratives against the ruling party on key issues. He advised the Congress party to take the lead, calling it the largest party in the opposition. Nitish Kumar also said that it should not rely on reactive narratives alone while addressing the problems of farmers while preparing for the general elections.
वैकल्पिक क्या हमारा एजेंडा है, इसको लेकर हमें अपनी बात जनता के समक्ष रखनी चाहिए. I have very clearly said earlier also, I am not the face of opposition for 2019, neither I can be. मुझ में न वो क्षमता है, न मेरे मन में वो एस्पिरेशन है.
2 militants were killed and 6 civilians critically injured in an encounter with security forces in Pulwama district of Kashmir on Monday morning. The gun battle started after security forces launched an operation in Bamunu area of Pulwama upon receiving information about the presence of 3 terrorists. Meanwhile, in Anantnag town, a policeman was shot at and injured by terrorists. Constable Ghulam Hassan was deployed on normal security duty when terrorists fired at him. He was unarmed at the time he was shot in the neck from close range.
बामनू पुलवामा में जो ऑपरेशन चल रहा है कैसो, उसमें अभी एनकाउंटर के दौरान 2 मिलिटेंट अब तक मारे जा चुके हैं और जो उनका आइडेंटिफिकेशन 2 लोकल मिलिटेंट के रूप में हुई है. ऑपरेशन अभी चल रहा है. तीसरा मिलिटेंट अभी अपनी पोजीशन बदल के अलग अलग जगह से फायर कर रहा है. तो वो ऑपरेशन अभी चल रहा है, कंटिन्यू है अभी.
And now he may have been designated a global terrorist by the US, but that has not stopped the chief of the terror outfit, Hizbul Mujahideen, to stop threatening India. Syed Salahuddin has boasted to a Pakistani television channel that he and his outfit have carried out terror attacks in India. In an interview to Pakistani channel GeoTV, Salahuddin had said that the focus of his attacks is the Indian armed forces and their security installations. Last year, he had also threatened to turn the Kashmir Valley into a graveyard for Indian forces. The threat comes just days after Pakistan had objected to the US action, calling it completely unjustified. It had said that Syed Salahuddin was an individual who supported the Kashmiri right to self-determination. At a rally on Saturday, Salahuddin also termed US President Donald Trump crazy for the action against him. He also said that the action was just a gift to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was visiting the US at the time. The Home Ministry on Monday sought a detailed report from the West Bengal government over the law and order situation in Darjeeling. The move comes after the state government asked the centre to recall 100 women paramilitary personnel deployed in the hills. This is for the first time that the centre has sought a report from the state on Darjeeling. Earlier in the day, the state government extended the restriction imposed on internet services for 8 more days in the hills. The Gorkha Janmukti Morcha supporters also held a massive protest outside the district magistrate's office in the hill town, which is witnessing an indefinite strike since the 15th of June. Meanwhile, Gorkha Janmukti Morcha has once again requested the central government to conduct a dialogue over a separate state.
केंद्र सरकार को गोरखालैंड का ऊपर डायलॉग करना चाहिए, क्योंकि आज आप देख रहा है छोटा छोटा बच्चा भी स्ट्रीट्स में है, सब गोरखालैंड डिमांड कर रहा है. हाँ, बंगाल में हम लोग सुरक्षित नहीं है. गोरखालैंड चाहिए, हाँ ये पीपल्स एस्पिरेशन है, इसको रेस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए। केंद्र को गोरखालैंड का ऊपर अब सीधा बातचीत करना चाहिए। हम लोग का ये 1 पॉइंट एजेंडा है।
The Bombay Stock Exchange on Monday opened on a positive note with a surge in the Sensex by over 300 points following the 1st of July rollout of the goods and services tax. The BSE Sensex was up 300 points to close at 31,221, while Nifty gained 94 points to close at 9,615. ITC, Hero MotoCorp and Coal India were the top gainers. The surge allayed concerns of investors who were wary of initial hiccups in the GST regime. Experts, however, believe that there will be volatility in the market owing to the initial hiccups in the implementation of GST.
As far as GST is concerned, it's a revolutionary step. One nation, one tax. It will increase the efficiency. It will boost the economy. The points are noted and markets are cognizant about it. Yes, initially there may be some disruption due to implementation, but I'm sure everything will be sorted out. And markets, so far what we have seen, they've been positive regarding GST.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday advised young IAS officers to fill India's administrative system with the energy of New India. Addressing 2015 batch officers at the inaugural session of Assistant Secretaries and National Capital, Modi asserted that boldness is required to drive change. He also underlined that dynamic change is needed to transform the system. The Prime Minister also urged the new officers to interact freely with seniors in the government so that the system could benefit from a combination of their energy and fresh ideas. Meanwhile, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi hit out at the NDA government over GST. In a series of tweets, Rahul Gandhi accused the centre of being insensitive towards the most vulnerable sections of society by imposing what he called a disability tax on wheelchairs and braille typewriters. Demanding a full rollback of GST disability aids, Rahul Gandhi said that the tax will impose further hardships on people with disabilities. The GST on braille typewriters and papers, carriages for the disabled and wheelchairs and other devices have been fixed at rates varying between 5 to 18%. Well, after the GST rollout, the retailers and traders are under huge loss due to their backlog of old stocks. Moreover, they are unable to manage their work due to technical difficulties and complicated tax scheme.
Greater Kailash's M Block market, one of Delhi's most prominent retail markets. Rajiv Goyal, who owns an electronics item store here, is a confused and anxious man these days. He says that the new taxation system, GST, has changed things, which will require additional spending on hiring computer operators as well as the services of software companies and chartered accountants. He says the loss incurred on the old stock has made things worse.
ना कोई हमें माल दे रहा है, ना हम सेल कर रहे हैं। इनपुट आउटपुट दोनों रुकी हुई हैं अभी। जो पुराना माल है वो हम किस रेट पे बेचेंगे ये हमें पता नहीं। हमारे सीए को भी नहीं पता कि वो किस रेट पे बेचना है, क्योंकि डिफरेंस आ गया 5 से 28% का। इससे बेस्ट है हम तो महीने 2 महीने देखेंगे। अगर हमारे को नहीं समझ में आएगा, जो रेंट आउट कर देंगे, माल दुकान को बंद कर देंगे।
Shopkeepers across the city share Goyal's plight. Most traders have no knowledge about indirect taxes. They do not have accountants, neither CAs, and most of them work with cash. From filing returns to old stock, confusion persists. Their common complaint is that they do not have the necessary information on GST and there is no infrastructure for it.
हमारे पास प्रोडक्ट्स इतने हैं रिटेल के अंदर कि हमें हर प्रोडक्ट का अलग-अलग कोड है, अलग-अलग कोड डालना पड़ेगा। अदरवाइज हमें उसका रिफंड नहीं मिलेगा जीएसटी का। तो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम तो इस समय कोड्स की है और परसेंटेज की है। बहुत सारी आइटमों के परसेंटेज ही नहीं पता लग रहे हैं कौन सी आइटम कितने परसेंट में है।
बस हमारे पास जीएसटी नंबर आया है और बस हमें पता है कि हमारे को ये आइटम इतने परसेंट पे आई है, मगर वो परफॉर्मा कोई नहीं आया है, कैसे बेचनी है, तो कैसे टैक्स इनपुट करना है, आउटपुट लेना है, कुछ नहीं पता।
Retail businesses come under the service sector, which contributes 60% to the country's GDP. There are about 10 million small traders and shopkeepers, most of whom are uneducated. And GST's entire foundation is based on technology. However, business associations expect the government to clear this confusion soon.
फिलहाल अगर देखा जाए तो प्रैक्टिकल जो ट्रेडर्स हैं थोड़े घबराए हुए हैं, और उनको अभी समझ नहीं आ रही है कि ये किस तरह होगा, कैसे होगा और कब होगा। बट आहिस्ता आहिस्ता जब समझ आ जाएगी, ये समझा देंगे, तो मुझे लगता है ये बहुत सरल और इजी हो जाएगा।
Shoppers directly connected to consumers want to be ready for GST. The role of retail business is crucial to the success of the taxation system and to bring the benefits of low tax to the consumers. In such a scenario, it is possible to achieve the goal of tax reform by alerting shopkeepers to the complex process of GST. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And here are more updates from across the country in Nationwide. The Delhi High Court refused to quash the money laundering case against Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh, his wife and his son. The court said their petitions were devoid of substance. The Enforcement Directorate lodged a case against the Chief Minister and others under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act in September 2015. The Supreme Court rejected a petition for hearing the bail of former Calcutta High Court Judge Justice C.S. Karnan. Karnan had requested urgent listing of his petition seeking bail at the side of his conviction. He is facing jail term in contempt of court case. Karnan is the first ever sitting judge of a higher court to be sentenced to jail term. Heavy rains lashed Arunachal Pradesh, causing landslides and flood-like situation across the state. The river Kameng at Sabha was flowing over the danger level. Two bridges that connected Sigali were washed away, leaving around 100 commuters stranded. The Delhi High Court dismissed petitions of SpiceJet and its co-founder Ajay Singh. This was against a single-judge order directing it to deposit 579 crore rupees in a share transfer dispute with the previous owner Kalanidhi Maran. However, a bunch of justices allowed them to deposit part of the amount by the bank guarantee by the end of July and the remaining in cash by 31st of August. A quick break here. Up next, international news.
I think they're ready to surrender.
आईएनए की बागी फौजियों पर अंग्रेज देशद्रोह का मुकदमा चलाएंगे।
उन तीनों के बचने के चांसेस कम हैं।
ये कोई आम केस नहीं, कोर्ट मार्शल है। बोला भाई, एक केस आप कांग्रेस के लिए नहीं, सुभाष बोस के लिए लड़ी।
Lieutenant Gobak Singh Dhillon, Captain Shah Nawaz Khan, Captain P.K. Sehgal. Section 41, waging war against the king. You are charged with murder. Do you plead guilty to the charges read out?
ईमानदारी से आजादी के लिए लड़ने वाली अगर कोई फौज है तो उसका नाम है आजाद हिंद फौज।
The safety, honor and welfare of your country comes first, always.
British Indian Army hand you over to the Japanese Imperial Army.
हिंदुस्तान और अंग्रेजों के बीच एक धागा था, वो टूट गया।
इस बार कुछ ऊपर नीचे हुआ तो देश में बवाल मच जाएगा। अब जनता किसी अंग्रेज को नहीं छोड़ेगी।
रात दिन अपने सीने विच वजदी आजादी दे राग नू बंद कर ला।
अंग्रेजी अफसरों ने साडी हिफाजत नहीं की, तो वो हमारी वफादारी के हकदार किस तरह हो सकते हैं?
आज हिंदुस्तानी फौज के पास अपना असली मकसद है, हिंदुस्तान की आजादी।
तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा।
ये मुकदमा पूरी इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी का है।
क्योंकि हमने वो दिन देखा है जब हमें ऐसा लगा था कि हमने हिंदुस्तान को वाकई आजाद कर दिया।
देश की आजादी की लड़ाई कोर्ट में लड़ी जा रही है और इस वक्त पूरा देश एक साथ तैनात है।
This trial and its judgment shall be remembered throughout history.
Welcome back. Let's get international news. And Pakistan has once again rejected India's demand for consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav, who is facing death penalty on alleged espionage charges. Pakistan said that it would be a travesty of logic to link his case with Indian civilian prisoners languishing in Pakistani jails. It also claimed that Jadhav was sent to Pakistan by its intelligence agency RAW for espionage and terrorism. The rejection came a day after India and Pakistan exchanged a list of prisoners lodged in each other's jails. The lists were exchanged under the bilateral agreement of 2008. India had on Saturday sought consular access to Jadhav, a retired Indian Navy officer sentenced to death in April by Pakistan's court. Pakistan dismissed India's consular access request to Jadhav more than 15 times. US President Donald Trump spoke with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Monday, appealing for his help with what he called growing threat posed by North Korea's nuclear weapons program. The conversation comes in the backdrop of the recent clash between the two over Washington's arms sale to Taiwan. Trump also spoke with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe about North Korea. The discussions come at a delicate time when North Korea's missile tests continue to dominate diplomatic talks around the world, and analysts warn of the possibility of another nuclear test. The US has for long been hoping that China would be able to persuade Pyongyang to abandon its weapons program. But Trump acknowledged recently that those efforts had failed. As a result, the US has sharply escalated pressure on China to do more to punish the North. Qatar has handed its official response to a list of demands by Saudi Arabia and its allies to the Emir of Kuwait. Kuwait is acting as a mediator to resolve the diplomatic rift. No details are known about the response, but Qatar's foreign minister had said on Sunday that the demands were made to be rejected. The Qatari response was delivered hours after the four nations accepted a call by Kuwait's Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Sabah to extend the 10-day deadline for another 48 hours. The demands include the shutting down of Al Jazeera News Network, the closure of a Turkish military base in Qatar, and curbing of diplomatic relations with Iran.
There is no fear from whatever action it's been taken. Qatar is prepared to face whatever consequences it is. But as I have mentioned to you that there is an international law which should not be violated, and there is a border which should not be crossed. And these countries and Qatar is in a region which is considered a center of stability in a turbulence region. So there is, I think, enough wisdom in avoiding such an irresponsible action against Qatar or against any country.
And here are more developments from across the world in Global Buzz. A tour bus collided with a lorry on a Bavarian motorway in Germany. Authorities fear around 18 people are dead. The bus was carrying 48 passengers, 30 of whom had critical injuries. Chinese President Xi Jinping started his Russian visit today. It will be the 21st meeting between the two leaders. Chinese ambassador to Russia, Li Hui, said that the meeting is especially important as 2017 marks the 20th anniversary of the establishment of China-Russia friendship. The visit is expected to give new impetus to the bilateral relations between the two nations. A few explosions from airstrikes and sporadic gunfire rang out across the old city of Mosul on Monday as the operation to dislodge Islamic State from the city came to a halt. A US-led international coalition along with Iraq's army and militarized police are fighting in a multi-pronged attack against the ISIS. And finally, some sports. And the Wimbledon Championships began on a good day for Britain Andy Murray as the tournament marked its 140th year. Defending champion Andy Murray opened centre court action in style, motoring into the second round with a 6-1, 6-4, 6-2 win over Alexander Bublik. Murray will next play German serve volleyer Dustin Brown. In another match, 20th seeded Australian Nick Kyrgios retired with a hip injury after going 6-3, 6-4 down to Frenchman Pierre-Hugues Herbert. The injury hampered Kyrgios' movement during most of the match, committing 17 unforced errors.
Mr. Bublik's challenge and the call on the right. Game for the challenge. Game set.
In the women's singles, five-time champion Venus Williams booked a second-round spot with a 7-6, 6-4 win over Belgium's Elise Mertens. In another match, second-seeded Simona Halep raced through with a 6-4, 6-1 victory over New Zealander Marina Erakovic. Halep broke her opponent's serve 5 times during the match that lasted an hour and 13 minutes.
Game, set connections, Halep.
That's all we have for you in the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.